Hello! I chose to do two poems by Lord Byron, and the reason I chose Lord Byron is because he wasn't just a poet in the Romantic era, he lived it. Had quite the reputation. The first poem by Lord Byron that I chose was Stanzas for Music, and the poem says, "There be none of beauty's daughters with a magic like thee, and like music on the waters is thy voice to me. When, as its sounds were causing the charmed oceans pausing, the waves lie still and gleaming, and the lulled winds seem dreaming. And the midnight moon is weaving her bright chain o'er the deep, whose breast is gently heaving as an infant's sleep. So the spirit bows before thee to listen and adore thee, with a full but soft emotion like the swell of summer's ocean." Besides the obvious reason as to why this poem is romantic, Lord Byron uses two very distinct elements in this poem. The first is the natural element that he brings into it, which he's talking about, the ocean and the moon and the water. I think those kind of intertwine with the imagery that Lord Byron kind of weaved into this poem. The way he talks about this woman is almost magical. Talking about how spirits bow before thee, and with his talking about full but soft emotions, and voice is like sweet water. The imagery that he kind of portrays in that is he has such a deep desire for this woman, and he wants to really compliment her beauty, and not just her beauty, her entire kind of being. I don't see how you can get any more romantic than that. The next poem that I got, it was When We Two Parted. When we two parted in silence and tears, half broken to sever for years. Pale grew thy cheek and cold, colder thy kiss, truly that hour foretold sorrow to this. The dew of the morning sunk chill on my brow. It felt like the warning of what I feel now. Thy vows are all broken, and light is thy fame. I hear thy name spoken, and share in its shame. They name thee before me, and kneel to mine ear. A shudder comes o'er me. Why wert thou so dear? They know not I knew thee, who knew thee too well. Long, long shall I rue thee, too deeply to tell. In secret we met, in silence I grieve that thy heart could forget, thy spirit deceive. If I should meet thee after long years, how should I greet thee with silence and tears? Whoa! I hope it's not the same woman that he wrote Stanzas for Music for. Knowing Lord Byron, this is about a woman he had an affair with who was also married, in which case she probably left him for her husband, which he got mad at, which I find ironic. I kind of feel like Lord Byron is delusional in the most romantic way. He has such a self-pitying rage contained within this poem. I think the first thing that you notice is just the individualism that Lord Byron puts in kind of all his poems. That he's very much like the Taylor Swift of poets. Everything is about him. There's definitely a different kind of nature element to this poem, which is the human nature and his feelings for this woman. Not very kind. Not very kind at all. He goes from writing this really lovely poem about how much he's kind of desiring this woman with breast heaving and like an infant and music to his ears, to this burning they loathe you kind of poem. He uses such intense words, talking about how, there's a shame whenever he hears her name. And you get the feeling that it's not shame because they had an affair, it's a shame because he had an affair with her. Another phrase that really sticks out is, long shall I rue thee, too deeply to tell. I mean, how angry do you have to be as someone to sit there and say there is a bottomless pit of anger and hatred that I feel for you? He was very, very angry. Another romantic element with the use of metaphor that he does in this poem, which is he's using, just like Stanzas for Music, he's using these natural elements to portray his emotions. And in this case, it's the cold. He uses the words cold for kisses and her cheek and a chill on his brow, and how that kind of symbolizes how he feels at the moment, and probably forever. This kind of fire and ice appeal that he's using for this poem. On one hand, he has such a cold hatred for her. He can't even describe how much he hates her, because he's saying his hatred goes so deep he can't even tell where it ends. But then at the same time, it's also this burning fire of resentment that he has toward her. And I think he kind of uses that to portray just how furious he is. Those are my thoughts on Lord Byron.